Hey guys, today I wanted to tell you quite an entertaining story that happened to me just yesterday. So basically, I was arrested at the German border for not having proper documents. I was on my way to Dresden, Germany, and I was going by bus. Once we arrived to the border control, they took all of our passports and they carried them away. It took them quite a long time because I didn't think that border control between Czech Republic and Germany would be that severe, or I don't know, that thorough. Though it took them about half an hour to check the passport, and then I see a border controller coming back to our bus, holding my passport, only my passport, and showing me on the phone the translation from German to Ukrainian. My visa, or he was saying, your visa got expired. You're not allowed to enter Germany. You have to be deported to Czech Republic. I suspected that this might happen, but my intention, of course, was never to violate the law. The problem was in misinformation and me not knowing the rules that thoroughly. So it was my fault. Nevertheless, I got out of the bus. Everyone was quite surprised and was looking at me, and of course it's not a common case that someone was being taken off the bus by police. There, outside the bus, I explained to the border controller my case and explained why I thought I am able to enter Germany. Because A, I have a biometric passport, B, I have a confirmation that I am prolonging my visa in Czech Republic for a while. He said he's not the one to solve this situation, so he said to me that I should wait for the colleagues from the office, from his police colleagues from the office. The other border controller was quite nice to me, and he saw my condition. He realized that I didn't do it intentionally, obviously, and he was being really nice to me. In fact, he was one of the few who spoke English, and we chatted a bit. He even told me his own personal stories about, well, not too personal, but just we had a common conversation. He told me that he has Ukrainian neighbors, that they're playing in the orchestra, and so on. Yeah, so it was fun. I thought that, in fact, he's being that kind to me because he is willing to let me go, but this never happened. So we just chatted nicely, and then I was brought to a tent next to the border control, and that was just a plain tent. There was nothing inside except for chairs. I sat down there, and he told me to wait for a while. I waited about half an hour or something, and their colleagues came in the police car. Also, they communicated, they explained the case, and they were gathered there outside of the tent, speaking German, me not understanding anything what's going on and what they're going to do. Yeah, and at this point, another Ukrainian woman was brought to the tent where I was sitting, and then I realized that we have the same situation. She has the same problem, and she is gonna be arrested or detained for a while too. Yeah, let's name that woman Tina, and we chatted with Tina there. She was feeling nervous. I wasn't feeling nervous that much anymore because I knew that someone has the same case as I am, so I'm not alone at least. And I could speak English and Czech, so I was able to communicate with some of the German police officers. After a while, one of the women police officer came, and she searched us. So basically, you had to stand like this, and she searched us all over, And yeah, everything was fine. Like, she searched us in close, like if we have any weapons, I don't know. After that, they took us in the car, in the police car, somewhere to a small town in Germany, where they had their office. We were going in the police car in the middle of the day, and when I was going in the car, I saw one of the road signs saying there are 17 kilometers left to Dresden. So basically, I didn't reach Dresden only for 17 kilometers. I thought that was funny, but that's life, hey. We were sitting on the back seat of the police car, and that woman was sitting right in front of us and kind of like keeping an eye on us. We felt like we were such lawbreakers. But it was a sunny day, everything was nice outside, and it didn't feel scary at all. Also, one of the police officers told us we'll be there for about 2 hours. 2-3 hours, then they'll let us go. When we were right there, it was like a territory that had a fence around, obviously cameras everywhere, and we were led to one of the buildings, to the ground floor. There we had to wait a bit. Then we took I took my bags, and I entered the room where they were asking questions and they were searching me again. They were preparing me. Basically, they were preparing me to put in the arrest room, or the detention room. Both of the women that went there, the police officers, didn't speak English quite well, and it made it much difficult to communicate. I was trying to explain once again that according to the information I had, and I checked it officially, apparently not thoroughly enough, that I am able to enter Germany. The women were not understanding me quite well, but then they brought another person who could explain to me everything in English. And he told me, yes, my documents are not valid. That's it. You're staying. You're being arrested because you violated German law by trying to cross the border without visa. I was like, okay. Then they searched me once again in that room. When that man left, both of the women were there with me, and one of them had gloves. She asked me to literally take off everything in order to search me. Take off all the clothes, so I was completely naked. She searched me, and she searched every piece of my clothes, and she was putting it aside. She took off my shoelaces, and she left it in the box. She took off my hairband, and she left it in the box. My smartphone, my passport, and my bag. All of that was in the box. Other clothes she returned, and I could dress up. But it was funny about the shoelaces. Later, I had some documents to read, and they were both in German and Ukrainian, so it was fine. And I was taken to the arrest room. Later, that same thing happened with Tina, and they searched her, and they asked her, and they brought her to the arrest room. How does the arrest room look? It is just a plain room with only benches that are screwed to the floor, and it has just one little window that is leading right into the cement structure. So basically there is almost no light coming in the room. It was about this window. Everything else was plain, nothing else, just walls and the benches. We were told that we were supposed to sit there for like 2 hours, also because of the change of the shift. To that police station, they were supposed to arrive the second night shift. So there will be other people coming. I was like, okay, 2 hours is bearable. We ended up spending there much longer, of course, but I was happy that at least I'm not alone. Other than that, I would have gone crazy in that room, because in few hours you get so bored. You start thinking all of it in your head, overthinking, the fear starts coming out, and psychologically it's not a great state, obviously. Now, we stayed there for a while. We explored the walls. On some of the walls there were written words in different languages. There was definitely Arabic. There was some Turkish, I think, and some other languages. And they were either scratched or drawn on the wall with a pencil. We wanted to do something as well, but we didn't have any pencils because everything was taken. Oh, also I forgot to say that when they were searching us, basically my whole bag was like taken out and checked every single piece of clothing or any object that was there. They checked everything that was in the bag. Yeah. But in that detention room, the thing that I did, and I'm quite happy that I had a chance to, I did a handstand, guys. I did a handstand in the German arrest room just yesterday. And that is one of the challenges that I made for myself, and I am glad I had such an experience. No, but the good thing is that after this arrest, basically I had no consequences, so everything is alright now with my passport. I have the same position in terms of like traveling. I have the same rights, and it's not even marked in passport that I was detained. We spent there a few hours chatting, laying on the benches. I asked for water and to go to the toilet, and I was led by the police officer there. Then I had to return. I did handstands, I did splits, I did some exercising, and it kind of cheered me up for a bit. Then I started having fears again, and I never knew how much longer it will take for them to solve the thing. In the meantime, they were changing shifts and they were they're filling in the documents. Then we hear the knock on the door, and a girl comes and she says, "Come follow me." We followed them to the room where we were supposed to finish filling in the documents. Now, they had to take our personal information, and they had to take our fingerprints and photos for the German police system. And this is what we did. Also, I was helping a bit with translation to Tina, because police spoke English only. By the way, the second shift was quite friendly, and they were younger guys. There was a woman and there was a girl and a boy, and it was just nice talking to them. They were like explaining well. When I asked to elaborate on something, they explained it in detail. They were like quite caring, and I'm happy with having them at that point. Yeah. And they didn't want to call any translator, because if one of us speaks English, we can pass the information around. So then they took the fingerprints and the photos of us. The photos we had to take from each side, so like this, then 3/4, then straight, and the same thing. Then the full body image, the full body photo, then each of the fingers. The cool thing is that while I was being scanned the fingerprints, I got to learn every single finger in German. I'll try it now. I've forgotten it a bit since yesterday, but I'll try. this is one Daumen, this is was Zeigefinger, Mittelfinger, Ringfinger, und Kleinfinger. I like that quite a lot, that there was a lot of things to observe around, and it wasn't a detention room anymore. There were cameras, there were like different objects, there were wires, and it felt so interesting in that room. And there were two other people, Germans, that were communicating with each other, so I could hear other voices, and it was so calming. Honestly, it was a much better room than the plain one, understandably. And at first I was, since that time, I was able to know what time is it, and it was about 8. At the border control, I was taking at 2, so 6 hours of me spending in the police station already. Yeah, after that, they said that is it. Now we have to get your signatures in the documents. We went to a different room, we signed them, we read them all thoroughly. They were both in German and Ukrainian, and that was basically it. We were told that we would be brought to the Czech border, or like to the Czech side, by the police, and this is what we did. 2 Germans packed their things, they brought us to their car, and by the same car we were returned to the Czech side. At this, till that point, we were on the German side. When we went outside, it was already very dark. It had a very clear sky, the stars were so bright, and everything felt so calm and natural, and I was happy that we were finally let go. So at that point we were feeling quite relaxed. But the thing is, the problem was in how we were gonna get back home to Prague, because it's like 125 kilometers, about that much, to Prague, and it's and it was 10 p.m. already. They drove us to the German border, and then they stepped out of the car with us, and they took us to the Czech side. It was about 50 meters maybe to the Czech side. It was really funny, but they had to walk us from the country to Czech Republic to make sure that we're not like running right back. And they waited there in the police car for a while to know that we're going the other direction. Yeah, and there that we were with our bags, two young Ukrainian girls standing on the side of the road without anything around. There were no supermarkets, there were no train stations that were open, no gas stations, but we were really hungry because it was about 8 hours that they kept us all together, and we didn't know what to do. We were in Petrovice, in a little town in Czech Republic, and Tina, my friend, by this time she was my friend, called one of the people that she knows, and he's a taxi driver, and he promised to get us from that town to Prague. Yeah, and in the meantime we walked with our bags. It was really cold. We walked to just following the road. There we found one open supermarket where the Vietnamese people were working, and we asked at least for bottles of water, and there were almost no snacks or anything. So we basically bought only drinks, and then we caught a bus, which was also occasionally, because the bus was actually just, because the bus was just passing us by and it was completely empty, and then the bus driver stopped and asked us where do we need to go, because we were carrying all the bags with us, and going alone to Ukrainian girls along the road. He brought us to the center of that little town, and there we waited for a while. There we found a funny place. There was a disco happening, and there was a bar. A bunch of drunk Czech men were singing so loudly, and then Despacito was playing. I have a video of me eating potato chips from that bar and vibing to Despacito that was coming from that bar. We were sat outside a little bit further away because we were scared of that bunch of drunk men. And in about 50 minutes maybe, Tina's friend arrived. Yeah, he's a Ukrainian. He's in his middle ages. It's about 50 maybe. And it was really funny. He's from the western side of Ukraine. He has this dialect. You know, we chatted nicely during the road. But the thing is, he looks like that village man that is using lots of curse words, that it has like very simple way of speaking, and it was funny to listen to him throughout our 1.5 hour drive. He played some songs of his. He played, yeah, never mind, just played some Ukrainian songs, and then we stopped at the petrol station to get hot dogs and coffee because we were starving. After that, if everything felt so safe, I was sitting on the back seat, just me, leaning on my backpack and falling asleep to Ukrainian music. And then I was brought back to Prague. Tina and that guy went further along because they had to go somewhere else, and they dropped me off in Prague, right next to my house, which I'm really thankful for. I wouldn't make it myself till there, because it was already dark, as I'm saying, 10 p.m. and almost no buses were coming. The trains also, the train station was far away, and the trains weren't coming that often. So it ended like this, me safely arriving to Prague. Thankfully, I'm really thankful to the people that helped me, and the moral of the story is that you guys listen up. Please check the documents before traveling anywhere very thoroughly and ask as many questions as possible. Make sure for 100% that you're okay to cross the border, even when you think that you have all the necessary documents. It might be a real thing. Yeah, I had another t-shirt that I wanted to wear for this video, and it said collect memories. I thought that would be very suitable for this thing, but at the end I stayed away from it. Generally speaking, I'm really glad for the whole experience. I'm glad that I was let out without any consequences. I'm glad that I encountered beautiful people, and we were very supportive towards each other, and I'm glad to life that it kind of taught me lesson without any consequences. Yeah, and also they told me that if they were to catch me, let's say that I managed to cross German border somehow, for example in a different border control or anything where the passports are not checked that much, and if I were to cross German border and I would be caught inside Germany, that would be a different violation with if I was caught inside Germany with a invalid document, that would be a much bigger violation, and that would end up in me being rejected to enter Germany for the upcoming 2 years. that didn't happen, so I'm glad that I ended up in such a situation and not a worse one. Okay, anyway, thank you for listening, and stay safe, good luck with your travels, and collect memories.